Hello, beautiful people. Come on in. Come on in. We're playing our EP single for you guys. It's just to help to set the environment, get you guys relaxed. Can you guys hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We got one. This is just our philosophy around hospitality, little technical issues, but we're not gonna let them stop us. Kindness in the world. Please excuse us. We're having some technical issues here. This is my favorite part. I and we. Guard. We got a little listening party now. All right. Thank you guys for joining us for this afternoon's conversation with our illustrious guest of honor, Kendall Daughtry. I hope I pronounced that. Kendall Daughtry. It's actually doctor, but we're going to be calling him Bro Wash because he asked us to prefer to him that way. I really struggled when you said that you wanted us to prefer to you as Bro Wash because, you know, in the Black community, when we get that doctor behind our name, we need to put some respect on it.
That's all
So
I
I
be
did.
saying. Right. One of my mentors, shout out to Dr. Gaines Hanks. She's the one that taught us that, people call you doctor until you give them permission not to. Right.
I like that. That's
Okay.
that's a
Not
good
too
tip.
many of us have it, especially Black men.
This
Right.
is true.
I'm here, and I appreciate the invite, and I'm looking forward to this convo.
Thank you. Thank you. So, for those of you all who are seeing us for the first time, my name is Lola Oladipo, and this is my twin sister,
Ty Oladipo.
and we are the proud co-founders of Urbanity Lush. And Urbanity Lush is curated hospitality, travel, and lifestyle brand. We specialize in creating warm and welcoming Airbnb accommodations, cultural immersive experiences, both online and in person, and cultural immersive travel guides. And our core is to really change the world one guest at a time. So one of the ways we do that is we really are very intentional about using the vehicle of hospitality to bring people who are diverse together to discuss, you know, what we like to call lush topics or hot topics around race and culture. Today we're going to be talking about Yes, African Americans traveling back to Africa, and kind of like what are the psychological barriers for us. So we want to thank again, Bro Wash, for joining us for this illustrious conversation. Sit back, you guys are gonna get some amazing just tidbits. If you're like my sister and I, we've never traveled to the continent, unfortunately.
Tell them about how we came up with the title. Go back to Africa. Back there.
Well, I don't know if you guys have heard this mantra. I'm pretty sure you have if you've lived any time in the United States and you're Black. People telling you go back to Africa. And so we really wanted to use this time to really,
so
we're going back to Africa. We wanted to use our brand to really kind of lift up what it looks like to go back to Africa as African Americans. And Bro Wash literally just returned from Senegal, and he wrote this amazing reflection. So we're going to be diving into that and getting to, into his travel business and all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to my sisters. She's going to give us a more of a
review. All right. So again, we have our illustrious doc in the house. Brother Bro Wash 125 is his IG and Facebook handle. And just a little bit about Bro Wash. He is a Philadelphia native. Hey. So we got a brother in the house. Love it. But although he's Philadelphia native, he is currently living and working in St. Thomas, in the Caribbean. We're jealous, but we're gonna keep it moving. He is doing beautiful work as a plumber. In most of his in that area. And then also he's a TEDx speaker, which I think is pretty phenomenal. And you can find that TEDx talk. It's called Code R.E.D on YouTube. I think we got a chance to check it out. And I love that it's what would you call it? A social justice handle, right? If you will. And it's the R stands for reflection, right? E stands for engagement. Let's go. Hey. And then he stands for disrupt. So hopefully we'll be doing that today with our Back to Africa travel series with Bro Wash. And then I want to just jump into our first question. So Bro Wash, tell us a little bit about where you're from and the work that you do and why it's significant. We want to hear. We're all ears.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for doing that homework. Code R.E.D up in the house.
Yes, fire.
So like you said, I'm originally from Philly, lived in New Jersey for a little bit, then moved to Delaware when I turned 13. So I guess that whole mid-Atlantic area. I would live in St. Thomas with my wife and a beautiful wife and our children. The work that I do is, I am a critical race scholar. I am an equity researcher, and I teach courses in Black American Studies, sociology, and human development family sciences at between 3 different universities. And I love that work. A lot of the work that I do is getting people to understand their biases. How do we know what we know? And everything, and getting them to the point of disrupting. So I love that work. I'm really big on equity and liberation. Right. We talk a lot about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I'm really big on that. But I do consider myself more of a liberationist, somebody like Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Get free.
Yeah. So that's the type of stuff that I do. A lot of my work is embedded in the realm of education. And everything like that. So really focusing on Black and brown education. So
awesome.
Wow. Sounds like he's doing really, really great work. It sounds like we need to disrupt our own biases first before we can actually help others and do that in public spaces.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So as you guys you were gonna say?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you're lit. It's very obvious. Thank you so much again for coming on. One of the things that is very just important for me to see is Black men who are really immersing themselves in their own culture and identity, and then coming back and speaking about that, right?
Yeah.
And trying to educate other Black men and other, African Americans in general. So again, I want to thank you for coming onto our platform to do that. We shared earlier, we are in the travel and hospitality industry, and as you guys know, travel has been booming since they declared COVID-19 has ended, right? There's been this trend of what is it called, travel revenge, and people have spent buying tickets to the famous hot spots like Italy and China and Singapore, but not too many people are buying tickets to Africa.
Is that right?
They did a study, and I believe in 2019 they showed that 58,000 Americans did travel to the continent.
Okay.
However, we don't know how many of those were African Americans, but we can assume that a lot of them weren't. The majority of them weren't African Americans, right? So I want to get into your travel business, Bro Wash, and kind of ask you, where have you traveled on the continent of Africa and outside of the continent in general?
Okay.
What has your travel experience been like?
Yeah, I would tell you that, again, I'm a kid from Philly and stuff. So like getting on the airplane was not a thing in my life until my wife. So my first airplane trip, I was 21 years old.
Wow.
Just from Philly to Georgia. But my experience has opened up, not just being here in St. Thomas, but different Caribbean islands, like Barbados, St. Lucia. I've been to Canada, but outside internationally, I've been to Austria or Vienna, Austria.
Ooh,
that was a free trip for grad school. I've been to Beijing, China.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Free trip from grad school. I've been to Budapest, Hungary. That was a free trip from grad school.
Wow.
I gotta ask you some questions about how to get these free trips, because
it's free, but grad school comes with a lot of trauma, y'all. So, oh golly.
I know I'm in grad school right now, and I'm trying to navigate.
They
but I like those. I like the idea of the traveling while you're in school.
While you're in school, yeah, because we go with conferences, so you present, or different trainings and stuff like that. But we're going to talk about the difference between navigating and disrupting. We'll come back to that. All right. So, and then the trip to Senegal, Senegal was not a free trip, but it's a trip that I will pay over and over and over again. We've been to Madrid, Spain as well. So
okay,
wow.
Awesome.
That is quite a colorful travel passport, right? All those different people groups and languages and foods, and oh my gosh, that's exciting.
So which one has been your favorite places to visit outside of, obviously, Africa, Senegal?
Oh, outside of Senegal, because that's definitely my favorite. and outside of the Caribbean, I would say Vienna, Austria was a really great trip. Yeah, just a lot of walking. They like, whenever I order a burger and cook it done, I feel like the chefs get mad at it, so they just turn it so it's dry. But nah, yo, them people took my burger. They very delicate.
It was like, we know what you want.
You know what I'm saying? They cooked it on no red, and it was still juicy.
Okay.
And then this guy thought I was Will Smith, so he bought me a free cannoli. The first time I had a cannoli. Vienna was cool. Still a lot of racism experience there. Same thing in China, but I would like to go back with my wife and kids and visit Vienna. That was a really good trip.
Wow. That's fire. That's fire. So speaking of travel, so every person has a travel personality or travel love language. So we're going to give you a little quiz. We're going to go through the 5 common travel personalities, and you let us know which one is most like you. So according to traveldiary.com, the 5 most travel experiences or travel personalities consist of the soul searcher. This person is looking to find their soul, find the meaning of life. So they do a lot of solo travel. I don't know if that's you. Doesn't sound like it. Then there's the city slicker. You are obsessed with vibrant cities, shopping, fine dining, and the nightlife. This is your cup of tea. That sounds like me. The
Vulture.
culture vulture, or what we like to say, culture
Culture
connoisseur. That's us. You travel to immerse yourself in the local culture and cherish the cultural experiences.
I think it's culture vulture.
Yeah. What's the
And
next one?
then there's the adventure seeker.
Or maybe.
This is the person who pushes the limits. They love going climbing up mountains and skydiving, whitewater rafting. Not your forte.
I live.
And then there's a typical traveler. This person is guided by the tourist guide. They need structure. They don't want any hiccups. They want to just kind of go there, do the typical things, and come back home. So
Nah.
of those five, which personality do you feel like you most identify with?
Yeah, definitely the culture vulture.
Okay.
Yeah, just somebody who just every time that I've gone somewhere, I didn't have a plan or too much structure. It was just we'll see how it goes.
Wow.
Stuff like that. I just want to just take in. I want to find Black people for sure. Stuff like that. I want
Black people.
right. I want to eat. And just see how it goes. Like yeah, but really just get the sense of the culture that is there, and rest up too, because we don't get a lot of rest, and everything like that. So we there for like 7 days. At least one day is a day to just chill, relax.
Yeah, that's important.
Like that. But for the most part, we'll just see how it goes. But none of that extreme adventure stuff. I ain't climbing nobody's Mount Everest.
You know, recently we have become adventure seekers.
No,
I
think some of that was cultivated in our youth. We used to go on these trips up to New York with a youth group that we were a part of, and we would do like whitewater rafting, 4-wheel drive biking, zip lining. So we've been kind of cultivating that, but I think we've like decided to go on trips where we can intentionally do that. I think more recently. So you want to tell them a little bit about Puerto Rico?
Yeah, we went to Puerto Rico last year at this time, for our birthday in July, and we actually zip line in the Amazon there. It was amazing. It was sick. It was a sick. Just FYI, I don't know how else to describe it, but we don't typically travel for adventure. We're usually more the culture connoisseur, where we like to go to museums, kind of discover the people and live like a local. But this time we decided to shake things up. So
and and you can be a combination of more than one. So I think we got a little bit of structure in there, because I know you said the next time we travel, we want to be maybe like try out a resort where everything is like kind of at your fingertips. And you don't have to plan as much.
You gotta try that resort life, right? Once.
So maybe every trip is
kind of live like a tourist queen.
Yes. So as a follow-up question, how did your personality, your travel personality, reflect in your trip to Senegal?
Yeah, I think that you have to go to a place like that very humbly. Just whatever you think you know, throw it out. And just take it for what it is. So, as an adult, the last few years, just really becoming more mindful of where I am in moments, my surroundings and stuff like that. So I just think that part was important, right? Was just taking it in the moment. Honestly, I don't have too many pictures.
You don't? Wow.
Because I was living in the moment. Yo, it was just so amazing. My boy was just chill. I mean, we got some videos of just us being goofy and silly, dancing. I guess we'll talk about that, the stuff that we did. But
I love it.
I just think that it was important to just go in humbly. To take it what it is. So being a culture person, or a person that is a culture vulture, and that personality, I think that it helped us to just really take in what Senegal had to offer, at least those 8 days we were there, because obviously we can't get everything that Senegal has to offer. So what Senegal offered those days, in those regions, in those moments, stuff like that, and just take it all in. So
I loved how you really was intentional about being present in the moment and not really being, Instagram happy and
you know what you did speak to how you didn't take a lot of pictures. Literally at the moment that I was thinking, like, how did you record your time there? Like, if you didn't take pictures, are you a journaler? Are you just, do you kind of like rehearse the stories with friends once you get back?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
how you
I'm a
do?
sharer, y'all. I love to share and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And then just
storyteller.
with the post I made like
Yeah.
2
yeah.
posts and stuff like that. And just I'm still on a high, and that was over a month ago.
Wow, that's what's up.
Yeah,
Okay.
just really that was my wife and I first trip to back to the motherland. So
Mm.
experiencing that with her as well was just
Uh-huh.
like the cherry on top, right? Just having
Awesome.
Yes.
spiritual experience with my wife. So I would doubt that I'll forget my first experience in to the motherland and stuff like that. But maybe I should journal. My wife is a writer, so I'll have her write it down.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I was gonna
She took
ask.
the pictures. She took the
Yeah,
pictures.
I was gonna ask you in terms of your wife. What were some of the things she expressed about going? Because you said that she's not trying to move there permanently. But what is she like about the trip?
yeah, what is she like? I think that Shanice is the best speaker for herself. Uh,
Okay. Okay.
and
Like,
everything.
look,
I would like
I've learned not to speak for my wife.
I would like to say that her best parts was about just being with me, but
Hey.
Oh, for sure,
um,
for sure.
we got a lot of walking. We just had some really good food, just experiencing different things, good talks, and stuff like that. Just her navigating the scene herself, and everything like being in charge of like money and doing all the conversions and stuff like that. So I think that she
Yeah.
had a good time. But just ask her
Yeah.
and then let me know what she says too. All right.
Okay.
Okay, awesome.
Cool. Cool.
We have an awesome question in the comments from Cynthia Oladipo. Hey, cousin. Glad to see she's hailing from my down in Florida
Mhm.
with this awesome question. We are going to get to that a little bit
Specific,
later
yeah.
because that's a great we had the same thought. So hold tight,
We'll
Cynthia.
get to that question really
Absolutely.
soon. That being said, I wanted to ask you about kind of like the psychological barriers that you may have had regarding your trip to Senegal. Like, because I know as an African American, I typically, just I've been, I guess, acculturated against Africa, right?
Yeah.
Mm,
Brainwashed into believing various myths about Africa. Some things are, true, but all of Africa is not war torn and poverty stricken,
yeah.
right?
What
Um,
mindset shifts we
yeah.
need to
So,
have.
did you have any of those before you went? And what would you suggest for people who may have those mental blocks?
Hmm.
Yeah. I've had them in my life for sure, but not so much before I went. The only mindset I had before I went was I'm going to enjoy myself. Nobody or
Okay.
nothing is going to take that away from me.
Hey,
Wow.
I love it. That's called
Right.
freedom.
And
Yeah,
I did, right?
absolutely.
But yeah, growing up, there is so when it comes to travel, I believe that there is a lot of push to go to these European white centric
Absolutely.
places,
Mm.
and not so much of the motherland. And the images that we see of the motherland is constantly Lion King, right?
Yeah.
Safari, or come help these
Adventures.
people who
Yeah.
are poor and dirt and all this
Hmm.
stuff, right? So when you're thinking about traveling, most of the time you're thinking about either going to a beautiful place or
Yeah.
resting or doing adventurous stuff. And I don't think that they place images or messages about Africa being a place that you can do those things,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So no, I don't want to go to Africa, and then possibly a little bit of that's where we come from. It's
Hmm.
always go back to Africa. I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go there. It's all this internal, very
Yeah.
deep racial bias, internalized
Yes.
that's that's been placed on us from a very young age.
Young
And
Yeah.
not obviously not everybody. I'm just speaking very generally,
age.
and everything. So I think that does play a part in us, and not just Africa, but around the diaspora and how we see each other.
Okay.
Africans in Africa, obviously, and
That's
Europe,
good.
Asia, the Caribbean, and even in all the Americas. And real quick, so I use the term Black, but Black is the racial group, and then Black the ethnic group. So Black the racial group is Africa, Africans in the diaspora, and then Black
Okay.
the ethnic group is Black people, what y'all would say African Americans.
Okay.
Black, the ethnic group is those that are descendants of the African enslaved in the United States of America. So sometimes I go back and forth between what I like Black
And that's
racially or Black
Yeah.
ethnic, because I don't use the term African American. Y'all feel free to still use it.
She's trying to say we dated.
No, we're not dating. I mean, African American is a term as old as I am, right? And I'm 21 years old, so y'all know. Right? I refer to myself as Black because the United States of America wants nothing to do with me. All right. So I don't add American to the end of that. And I am Black, right? And the closer I get to my African roots, I can become a little bit more comfortable with that. But the reality is that I haven't been, right? There is this very different cultural identity that we have as African people that's still connected to the continent versus Caribbean folk, and then Black in the United States. We have these very different ideas. I know that living in the Caribbean, I feel like they're a lot closer to the source than we are in the United States of America.
Why do you think that is?
I think that the history of the slave trade and those reasons have been very different. And there is a lot more connectivity to holding on to those cultures and values, to where as though the slave trade in the United States of America, the impact of it and how it continues to evolve itself, right? The fact that Black folk don't have independence, liberation in the United States. We are still constantly underneath the umbrella of white supremacy, to where as though Jamaica is an independent island, like Barbados is an independent island, right? Even here in the Virgin Islands, we are a colony of the United States of America. When they decided that cockfighting, we may agree that cockfighting is cruelty to animals, but that's not our heritage, right? It is the heritage of people of the Caribbean, right? They get a say in what's right or wrong morally, right? But the federal government decided it was wrong and then criminalized cockfighting. Now you have made people's livelihood, right, their culture, a criminal act without even considering their voice. That's the impact of colonization. So we don't really get that. But I forgot what the question is, but
you answered it.
Yeah, you did. Just the how the Caribbean peoples have a greater connectivity to Africa, the continent, and the different countries represented there versus us in the United States. We still kind of, dealing with oppression. I always think about how, like, when we make our arguments about the different things that we're dealing with in the United States, how we always often have to make our appeal to the government. We have to act like there's this posture of asking, can I wear my hair natural? No, it's natural. So we don't need to act, right? We don't need to make a crown. I mean, it's good that we have it, but there shouldn't have been the need to make a crown act for something that is, natural for us.
I think that's an excellent segue into my next question for you, Bro Wash. You did an excellent job of like just explaining your emotions and your feelings around your trip to Senegal, like when you first entered and arrived and landed on the soil. And I just wanted to give you the opportunity to kind of take the viewers on that journey. Kind of like, what did you feel? What did you hear? What were the smells? Look at that smell.
It's coming back.
It was so all right. So we had a long flight from St. Thomas to New York to Madrid with like an 8-hour layover, then Madrid to Dakar. And when I tell you, like, the Senegalese men, the African men that was on that plane were a bunch of jokers. Like, the whole flight, I didn't understand a word they were saying because I speak English. I'm sorry. Some people
Black and white.
were joking the whole. And if y'all know me, y'all know I love to bust a gut. Like I love. So the fact that like, despite different cultures, despite different languages, that just Black joy, right? Just being present on that. Again, I don't know what but they probably was busting on each other. And like, I mean, it's midnight, and they like type laughing. Like, it was so. I was trying to sleep, yes, but I also enjoyed their freedom, right? The freedom to enjoy themselves, to be themselves, and be as goofy as possible.
And not fear that someone's going to call the police on them or get authority on them because they're acting too Black.
Now, there was something that happened towards the end of the flight where the flight attendant and the man was cussing her out in all different languages and stuff like that.
My God.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but I think that, again, just being the critical person I am, like, it's so easy to just blame him because he's exhibiting anger, right? But why do we do that? Because we've been taught to do that specifically for Black men and women, right? That our passion is automatically received as anger or whatever the case may be, right? So we get off the plane and I'm tired, my wife is tired, and we try to find taxi them. So we don't really know where we're going, but it's dark. A whole line of taxis are lined up. We get into, the man comes and is like, "Oh, where you going?" My wife tells him where we going. So he gets one of the young boys. So at least here in the Virgin Islands, our taxi system is a little different, but I don't see that there's a lot of like inviting more people into the industry. But I saw that there, right? You have people of all different ages. So he probably could have been like 19, 20 years old. Got his taxi, and I noticed that his taxi is on E, like the gas. Wow. So we get in the back, and he starts driving for like 45 minutes. I'm like, yo, this dude ain't gonna stop again.
Y'all gonna make
it. So we're getting along, but I was checking out the scenery. Like, it's obviously 1 o'clock in the morning, so it was dark. But everybody and their mom is outside. Right? Exercising or selling stuff. And I ain't talking about like weed or bean pies. No offense if you sell weed or bean pies. But I'm talking about banana thing off the tree, right? Just like outside going to the grocery store, like it's live as if it was 8 p.m. or 6 p.m. So everyone is still up, just chilling, doing something outside. You know what I'm saying? So we driving, we get lost, we don't speak his language, he don't speak my language, so we on the little app. A couple times this man took us into a back alley, turned the car off, and left us.
What? Hold up. See.
Yeah, so we like, yo, I ain't come all the way to Africa.
It's really about to come out.
That I like what Dr. GH said in the concept, the African continent to die, because you know what I'm saying, we in the alleys and stuff, but it was so safe, y'all. It was safe.
Really?
Yeah, man, it was safe. It was safe. I ain't saying everywhere is like that, but in my experiences in those moments, we were safe. So he would come back, and it took us a while to find the place, but we found it. The roads was a mixture of, paved roads, dusty, clayish type roads. Then we got to our Airbnb, and yeah, but it was great. The smells was different. I've never smelled anything like that, but I would imagine it. I would describe it more like a dusty, like clay type of smell. But again,
very earthy.
Like I said in my post, I've never felt the place where I felt like connected to the land. Like, I've lived in Philly. I love Philly. I won't ever say anything bad about Philly, right? I love the Virgin Islands. I feel connected to the people here. But the physical land, you are, again, mindful of like energy transfer and vibration and stuff. Like, I felt that on the land, right? And I was like, oh, what is this superpower? Right? Right? Shoot, Black Panther type stuff. But yeah, it was just a connection there to the actual land that I've never felt before. And I wanted to just taking that moment. So.
Awesome, beautiful. Wow, that's yeah, it's powerful. I got so many thoughts right now. The connection to the land, it makes me think about how historically here in the States, we weren't, for many decades, we weren't allowed to own land.
Right.
And I wonder if that was a part of, keeping us kind of like in this place of oppression. Because when you're on the land, you have a connection to the land, you own it. It's different from you just kind of working it and bringing produce from the land, versus land that you actually own.
Yes.
And you're connected to. So that's really powerful. So I'm gonna kind of switch it up a little bit, and this kind of alludes to Cynthia's question.
Yes.
There's this. So before Black Panther 1 and 2, I ain't know anything about Marvel comics, but Black Panther kind of changed the whole game for a lot of us, non-Marvel people. But in the first movie, there's this scene with Killmonger, who's played by Michael B. And he travels from the States to Wakanda, and there's this meeting of the tribal leaders, right? And he says there's this argument or whatever. I wish I could play the snippet, but anyway, there's a moment where there's an argument, and they realize that he is the son of one of the Wakanda members, and he looks at Queen Ramonda and says, "Hey, auntie," right? And there's this moment where it kind of became like that phrase became like a cultural phenomenon, right?
Yeah.
You're acknowledging that I'm not from here, but I'm a descendant of here, and now I'm back, and you have to deal with it, right? And so, to connect with Cynthia's question, my question is, what are the dangers of romanticizing returning to Africa, as it relates to African Americans, and how did the Senegalese greet you and interact with you as an African American, or a Black coming back to the continent, if you will?
Yeah, I always encourage people to just go anywhere humbly, like whatever you know, throw it away, and then go the way of the people, right? So if in Senegal they were like, "Come, brother, come," then I'm your brother. If they "Nah, we ain't," then I'm not. The reality is that there is such a huge gap in between the last time my family was here, and I love again what Dr. Gaines Hank is saying in the comments. Like, there's so many diverse countries and cultures and tribes in the continent of Africa. So I encourage people to just go with no expectation to connect. Of course, you want to, but just go with the way with the people, and sometimes the individual may matter, right? One person may be come, welcome, where the next one is like, nah, we ain't the same. But so that's how I went in. I was going to have a good time no matter what. But also just being a culture vulture, just going the way that it goes. But my actual experience was people were kind, people were nice. The only thing that I would say is that we didn't experience much people who were just genuinely interested in us. Most people who came up to talk to us, we thought, oh yeah, we got a friend. Then they will hit you with can you buy something from my shop? Or can you
business transactions.
Money, yeah, some type of transaction. And for me, I didn't do too much studying of it, but as again, this critical lens that I have, I just question, well, what part of that is due to the system and not this is because people want to be this way, right? So no, there's people who did say, hey, we both from Africa, we brothers, we sisters, and stuff like that, which was cool. I don't know how much they really meant that, because again, they were trying to tell me stuff. But whether they meant it or not,
whether
they meant it or not, for me, there is a lot of healing that needs to happen. There is a lot of conversations and just embracing of each other that needs to happen if we are going to have some type of real mutual respect and understanding. Specifically, I think a lot of it is on us as Black USA people, though, because we come with this high key, a lot of stereotypes about what the people on the African continent are like, and their culture, and they're poor, and they're this, and we come with this superiority, even if we broke. Even if we broke, we broke. We gonna live like broke, right? Bro, okay. Man. So I think that we have to really, truly be humble. I keep representing Dr. G.A. She teaches this thing about cultural humility, right? It's one thing to be cultural competent, right? But to have that humility, so going to places like, again, as an educator, we saw a lot of little boys outside during what we would call school hours. So our host was really dope. She was so nice. She walked us around. So I was able to just start walking around freely by myself or with my wife. But we saw a lot of children. And the first time was like, I said it with an attitude like, why isn't he in school? Right? Because that's my bias, it's my perspective. Right? And she goes, oh, the kind of school. So she started explaining the kind of different schools that they have. And for me, it was like, I had to back up and understand, like, if this is what's working for them, that's cool. Like, they don't have to go and be robots for 8 hours in a classroom. You know what I'm saying? Like, their schooling was very different. So I think that it's important that we, again, go there with a completely open mind to learn, to enjoy, to heal, during our trips to the continent. So
I really like that response, because I know for me, one of my mental barriers from traveling to the continent has been, will I be received? Even though I'm half Nigerian by way of our father, who's now late, I have a very casual relationship with my Nigerian culture inside. And one of the things I guess I'm apprehensive about is, like, if I go there, will they actually embrace me as an African American? Because I'm not African, right? And I think so sometimes we feel like and there's biases on both sides, right? And there's stereotypes on both sides. Because I've been in rooms where there have been a majority, everyone was Nigerian. They thought I was like 100% Nigerian, and they're like, the conversations they're having about Black people, and then they discover that I'm like, my mother's like, your mother's African American? I'm like, yeah. Hi, auntie. And so, I really, one of the things that we want to do as a brand, we really want to create spaces for Blacks and African Americans, or however you want to, whatever terminology you want to use, to really come together and have those, lush conversations about acceptance and what it means to be African and what it means to be Black, and
even what it means to be bicultural. Because I mean, I feel like it's akin to the whole Philadelphia thing. Like we talked about, we're not native to Philly, right? But we've been here long enough that we consider ourselves more Philadelphian than Washingtonian, but we're still kind of like in this in-between space. And so you create this new culture or new dynamic. And that's something that people have to really engage, and we have to be able to articulate that as well. So it's layered,
It's so complex. And that was so frustrating for me, right? Going to the ocean that the Atlantic slave trade ships took, our ancestors. That was the frustrating part, like reflecting on what could have been, right? This is so complex, and it's a lot of complexity starts with that. Right? I'm not saying that we were monolithic or one tribe as a continent beforehand, or even within a country lines, but there's just so much, and whether they accept me or not is a question. But it's like, dang, like what could have been if that never happened? Like that's frustrating as hell. Like right now, it's when I go to United States of America, right, I have to be so cognizant about my surroundings, constantly being followed and stuff like that. In Senegal, that's not a thing, right? Like, to experience that like seeing billboards and turning on the TV. I ain't understand a word they said, but
You see black,
Black on black on black on black.
for you, by you, but it was the
Okay.
there was no diversity
Yeah.
initiative, no like to be the norm. Was just
Yeah.
something that was just like, yo, it was so great but frustrating because it's like I had to go all the way here to experience that.
Yeah.
And I feel like we deserve to know that every single day, right? That our blackness, who we are, isn't other. It is.
Yeah.
I got
it
it.
is norm.
Yes.
So I think that's that, right? And that's why for me, I don't encourage people, Black folk, African American folk, Caribbean folk, who want to go to the continent of Africa to go there on a missions trip, anything like that. Like it's hard to be able to take in all of that while you're trying to serve and possibly colonize other people, right? Like to go there and be intentional about taking in all the good and the frustrating parts that comes with experiencing like you back on the continent of the motherland, you know what I'm saying? And all that comes with that. So
beautiful. Wow, this was powerful.
Absolutely.
This was absolutely powerful. You painted such an amazing image and picture for us. I know for me, I'm definitely ready to book my ticket somewhere in Africa. I don't know if it's gonna be Nigeria first. We'll see, but definitely want to go there. Definitely just in awe. Thank you again for just taking time to come on here to tell us about your experiences, to inspire more African Americans, Black people to travel to the motherland. It's definitely something that I definitely feel like there's a burgeoning movement around that, particularly with the call to back to, I think it's the 2019 was the Back to Africa movement that they had established. I think I'm mispronouncing that movement.
You might have been Welcome Back. Like
it was several countries like Ghana,
yeah,
and several other countries who were basically rolling out the red carpet, trying to really entice African Americans to come back and help to build up the country. And so I definitely think that this is just a follow up to that, right? We need to continue to venture out of our hood and venture to the motherland. So I definitely, hopefully next time you see us, we'll be in Africa.
Yeah,
I think
we're on the continent.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, somewhere on the continent for sure.
Yes,
absolutely.
Definitely.
I think one of my biggest takeaways was the red, like the fact that I think as a brand we're reflective of what's going on around this, cultural biases and our brand tries to engage because we have experiences, we have these interviews with folks like Bro Wash, and then we're really doing the work to disrupt. I think people kind of realizing their biases, realizing how they need to cross cultures a little bit more. I think that can, like you said, doing the personal, it helps them to do the personal work. And I think that that's the biggest thing that I've taken away from the work that you're doing and how it relates to our brand and what we both agree on. So
yeah. I would just say, just if you planning on going, just act like you don't know nothing.
Okay.
And say I'm going to enjoy myself, no matter what. Right. I talk about this whole ancestors thing. I don't really get it all the way because I know people in my family when they're like, I want nothing to do with them, whether they dead or alive. Right. Right. I don't get it. But there was like definitely moments of feeling that celebration, right, with a feeling of ancestral celebration being there. And I encourage every Black person to go there again, practice what it means to be mindful right now, what it means to slow down, to be in tune with what is happening right in front of you at the moment. So then when you go to a place anywhere on the continent of Africa or even in the Caribbean, which is, again, a step closer to the source, in my opinion, you can be able to you could take in really what's happening and put down the phone so that you can really
put it down. Put the phone down. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so with that said, we're gonna go ahead and transition. If you guys are interested in learning more about Bro Wash, let them know where they can follow you and find more information. Find more information about you. Go ahead and shout out your handles.
Yeah. Oh, dang, you froze. Yeah, so you could, what is it called? Request me on Facebook at Bro Wash. Maybe it's in there already, or on my Instagram is Bro Wash 215, BROWASH 215. And if you want to, chat, email, you could just DM me and I'll shoot you my email.
Awesome. And if you want to know more about Urbanity Lush, you can follow us at Urbanity Lush on IG and Facebook.
Yep.
If you actually, for those of you guys who have joined us today, if you drop your email, we will enter you into a free raffle to receive $150 worth of skincare products from our amazing cousin / niece who happens to be Nigerian as well. She has a line called Yumi Cosmetics, and it's actually featured in Allure in NYC.
Yep.
So I want to thank her for sponsoring today's hospitality box giveaway. So drop your look. I see those emails being dropped. Drop those emails, and you will also get a complimentary travel guide where we're going to be talking about all the great places to stop or to purchase tickets to on the continent.
Yeah, we'll probably have to update and include some more of those, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Those countries.
Yeah, and if I can shout out my wonderful wife and her
Hey,
she made the shirt.
Hey,
on our trip. So you can look up the Book Spot VI as for Virgin Islands. She sell book bots that has different things like skincare and stuff like that. So maybe you can go on. What do people put in their emails on there for?
Oh, this is for the raffle. So we're going to be giving away. they want their skin glowing. So when they get to Africa, they be like, it's all.
Yeah, right. Yo, the mosquitoes were wild too, yo. They were wild.
I don't know if it will work as a repellent, but we'll see.
Oh wow.
I don't use repellent because when I do, the mosquitoes just be like, "Ooh, seasoning."
Right. I'm not chicken. Okay, I'm not chicken. Please. All right, Bro Wash.
All right, y'all.
Blessings. You. We will see you soon. Take care.
All right.
God bless.
Thank you.
Bye.